Okay, I want to try and just recap what you said to make sure I understood you correctly. So let's take the example of a child that wants the end goal is they want to be a doctor in our current system. So what you're essentially saying is they can go to an innovative nursery and then they'll learn about autonomy, freedom, and they'll get all the skills that they need from there. They can then two options either go into the original system, which is your typical high school and elementary school and middle school, or they can then go into an innovative school. If they end up choosing the innovative school, they will have these extra capabilities and competencies that the kids in the other schools don't have, but they will still have the choice and the option to go to university because those same skills which the kids are learning in the other school, like math and science, are also being taught in your school, in the innovative school, maybe in a different way, but they have the skills to recognize, okay, if I want to get into Harvard or if I want to get into McGill and I want to do an undergraduate in medicine, I need a 1300 on the SAT. I've learned all these concepts about math. I haven't necessarily memorized anything, but because I'm skilled at having that fundamental understanding of math, I can quickly learn how to pass the SAT. And then once they're in university, they will be able to go through the system, but they will have that awareness of knowing why they are going through that system, and they'll know the purpose of it, and they won't just be like a sheep in the herd. They, unlike the other kids who are just, climbing up the ladder, which leads to nowhere, and they don't know what they want out of it, the kids coming from the innovative school will know precisely what they want to extract from a university degree. Is there
Yeah,
something you
absolutely,
would add?
absolutely, and I'm sure if you and to all the any university students you speak to, um, usually you'll know friends or people that get good grades, but they're very different in terms of their readiness for life, right?
Mm.
You'll be aware of certain people where you say, okay, this person is just a machine, a test taking machine. This other person is much broader than that. They're able to get the grades, but there's this depth to them. What is that? That'll typically be through different parenting. Maybe along their educational path, they got that one or two teachers that flip things around, literally, pun intended, and expose them, and something clicked inside of them. So what we're saying here is, this is not to go and live another life. This is to succeed better at those very same professions and entrepreneurial projects or any kind of work that these universities are preparing students for. It's just doing more of that work. So if your parents knew a little bit about this and they knew more, you would get more of that. The more exposure you get, the better. And how that looks is, there's a journalist I follow, and he said to his son, if you wanna go to university and study a profession, you're wasting my money. University should be to go and study things like philosophy. And then if you want to study a profession, so if you've studied philosophy and you know how to think about things, you can reflect on things, and then you study medicine. And I'm not saying you need a 3-year degree in philosophy, especially if it's a 3-year copy-paste, knowledge download, but how to build philosophical thinking, and you can do that on YouTube, and books. You then approach medicine in a very different way, because you're now asking yourself why, rather than just following, as you said, following the herd. And you could be that doctor that wonders, why isn't there in this, in these 7 years of med school, why is there so little emphasis on nutrition? And the person who doesn't ask the question says, well, because everybody else is doing it, can't be important. But the person that asks the question has that autonomy, will explore it, and maybe there's an answer, and maybe there's something surprising, which is, well, we kind of forgot about nutrition. The world is learning it on the side, outside of the profession, and putting pressure on the profession. So why don't they integrate it into the profession? And things like functional medicine start to come up, and and better ways of doing this. But who are those people? They're the ones who retain their intrinsic motivation, have autonomy, can self-construct their knowledge, and you don't need a special school for that. It's the adults in your life when you're young that can nurture that. It already exists in you. But the more we do that, the better. And it is very much in the same system, and then you can, do well and even do better. I mean, that's the whole point of this, is that you should be able to both do better and be happier in these things. But yeah, it's not to completely move away. I mean, do we need the medical profession? Absolutely. Do we need universities, hubs where students of this age come together and network and find, as they're trying to discover, what will I do and how will I do it and who am I as an individual, find like-minded peers? Absolutely. But if I get some of that earlier, I can still go into these existing systems and do it differently and do it better and do it in a more autonomous way, basically.